your job obviously is to represent Ghana and Ghanaians outside the country, and most importantly here in the States, since this is where your post is. But let me still ask, what is your most important assignment as an ambassador?
Well, there are several facets to this responsibility. Basically, as an ambassador, like all other ambassadors throughout the world, your first responsibility is to ensure that the relationship between your country and, which is referred to in employed parlance as the sending state, and the receiving state, in this case, the United States of America, remain as friendly as can ever be. We, of course, established relations with the United States many years ago. The U.S. was one of the first countries to establish relations with Ghana when we attained our independence. It is important that throughout the years, this relationship is maintained at the highest level. So that is one aspect of the responsibility that we shoulder. But of course, we also recognize that we have thousands of our compatriots living abroad, including, of course, the United States. So again, we want to make sure that the citizens of Ghana who live here are well taken care of. We offer consular services to them when they need those services, when they get into trouble sometimes with the immigration authorities. We are informed. We try to provide advice and support as much as we can to mitigate the difficulties, the plight while they are here. So we maintain very close relationship with them throughout the United States. Perhaps for this moment in time, one of the very important duties that we perform as ambassadors, or as an ambassador, is to promote trade and investment. The earlier days, when we, as a country, as a government, as a newly independent country, we provided the impetus, the inspiration for the other African peoples who were not yet independent to provide leadership, inspiration in their struggle to achieve independence. So there was emphasis on political activity, using our bilateral relations as well as our multilateral relationships within the UN system to ensure that our other brothers and sisters on the continent also achieve independence. But there has been a transition. The emphasis on political, maintaining good, friendly political relationships with these countries has shifted, more or less, to now emphasis more on economic diplomacy. And from political diplomacy to economic diplomacy, the emphasis now is on promoting trade and investment. In a globalized world, today trade and investment is what drives economies, all right? And therefore it's important that we pursue vigorously and place emphasis on promoting trade and investment between the various countries with which we have relationships. Of course, including what I consider as the one country in this whole world,
which is the United States,
which has the power in terms of military strength, economic strength, and all that, to ensure that we maintain, on the basis of the friendly relationship between us, we also maintain a very high level of economic, trade and investment interaction, encouraging the U.S. government to support our own efforts at development, as well as ensuring that, as you know, today the private sector is what drives economies, and as a young emerging economy such as ours, it's important that we get the participation of all these private businesses and investors to support our own efforts.
Interesting. So you made an important point that we've moved from political diplomacy to economic diplomacy. Now, speaking of economic diplomacy brings me to Ghanaians in the diaspora. Since we're not home, I'd like to focus a little bit of this interview on the interest of Ghanaians in the diaspora. What, in your opinion, is the most important contributions of Ghanaians in the diaspora to the economic development back home? And conversely, what is the major difficulty they face in their attempts to contribute to economic development back home?
Well, I think this is a very important issue that we need to discuss, and hopefully the Ghanaians in the diaspora would understand that they have a very critical role to play in our development. It is true that some of them have been away for so long, but it is also equally true that in spite of the distance, almost every one of us in the diaspora has a relative back home in Ghana. I am pleased to state that my experience as I traveled and worked in several embassies has been that the Ghanaians in the diaspora never forget about their home country. And they have contributed tremendously, financially, to support our own economy in terms of the huge transfers of monies, remittances, either directly or indirectly, go to support our development initiatives. I believe that the remittances, the transfers from abroad, constitute roughly about a quarter, if not a third, in terms of percentages towards our budget. And this is quite substantial. It's a significant. And they continue to do so. But there is another side of it. The transfers of finances and money and all that is important. Some of them have also established businesses in Ghana. But at the same time, we have quite a very significant number of well-trained minds. Name it. In ICT, in medicine, in engineering. We have, and I've had the occasion to meet so many of them across the United States. These are Ghanaians who have sought and acquired knowledge in various fields. And we seek to encourage them to go back together, if not to stay forever, to support whatever initiative that we are taking in the field of, whether it's agriculture, medicine, the concept of infrastructure. Today, the emphasis is on the development of ICT to support industrial efforts, you see. And I have met individuals who are brilliant in their own fields. And these are technologies that we would require. New technologies. This is the So you understand what I'm
I
saying?
do.
The growth of economies depend to a very large extent today on the application of these new technologies.